Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we have a Start Collecting Age of Sigmar 3rd edition video for you, and we're going to be looking at a Start Collecting box for the Ironjawz today. This Start Collecting box, as you might have guessed, is called Start Collecting Ironjawz. It's not always the case that they're named after the army, but this one is one of the ones that is. So let's get cracking on and look at exactly what is inside the box, what we can do with that and what those units give us, and also how we can expand upon this box with other units from the range of models we have available to us in the Ironjawz and indeed Auric Warclans book. And also at the end we're going to look at a little sample army list as well to sort of show you how we can put all of these things into practice and get us an army that we can really learn the game with. So for starters, we have one Auric Warchanter. Now the Auric Warchanter is an interesting buff piece. He is neither a wizard nor a priest, so no one can actually counteract his sort of, I guess, not prayers. There was a lot of speculation that he would be a priest, I guess, when the new battle tome came out. That's not the case. He still gets all these cool beats that he can choose from, which are sort of like prayers, but they can't be stopped. So really, really cool. So these things he gets here, so first of all, he's got his Fix and Beat where he can either choose to heal some units, he's got the Get and Beat where he can choose to increase some charge potential, or he's got the Kill Beat which gives a +1 to hit out to units. So he's got some really versatile options. Now you have to choose this when you pick your model to be a part of your army, so it is like a priest and a wizard in that you don't get to pick pre-game like some other things do. You do have to pick on part of your army list. But also worth mentioning, he's an Auric character, so he's pretty decent. He's got a 4-up save, 6 wounds, and he's got 6 attacks at 3s and 3s, no Ren, but damage D3. So he can do a decent amount of damage. If you put him into something like a little light chaff unit, he's actually going to do a decent amount of damage to them. If you put him into something with a 6-up save, he's probably going to kill a few of them, which is nice. Then we've got 10 Auric Ardboys. These are sort of your main battle line unit for the Ironjawz. They're sort of your weakest version of troop. They do have 2 wounds and a 4-up save though, and potentially with a ward save of 6-up. I mean, if that's your weakest troop, it's pretty solid for Ironjawz. 3 attacks each at 4s and 3s, no rend and damage 1. But they also, if this unit's champion issues a rally command to this unit while they're within 12 inch of a war channel, you can return 1 slain model for each 4+ rather than 6. So they really do stick around when you've used that cool little rally ability for them. Next up, we've got the 3 Auric Gorgrunters, the last models in this kit. Gorgrunters are really fun. I think there's definitely some options on their weapons, and they do some mortal wounds on impact depending on which weapon option you've chosen to take. But 5 wounds on a 4-up save, once again, just really solid. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but that is a decent amount of Auric to have to chew your way through. It's really interesting that a cavalry unit ends up being a fantastic anvil for the Aurics here. But now that we've talked about all the stuff here, let's go and have a look at some units we can use to expand our Ironjawz force. Alrighty, so the only, I guess, mainstay Ironjawz unit we don't get inside the Start Collecting box is the Auric Brutes unit. Auric Brutes are an interesting one. They're not cavalry, but they definitely are much harder hitting than their Ardboy friends. So they've got a range of different weapon options. One of them is for your boss, and then you've got the ability to take 1 in 5 as a particular more powerful weapon. You've got the option between 2 weapons there as well, which is really cool. So each model in the Auric Brutes unit is armed with one of the following weapon options, and you can mix and match, which is really cool. So it makes for a really interesting sort of painting challenge. I mean, this can get a little bit messy in combat, and generally you want to probably try and go one way or the other, as they do sort of do things a little bit different. But it is pretty cool that you can mix and match, can make some really interesting, cool models for your army, make all your brutes really unique. But anyway, so you've got some cool abilities. First of all, you've got the You Messin ability, where enemy models with wounds characteristic of 1 that are within 3 inch of this unit cannot contest objectives. This is really, really strong. This means if they charge, a giant blob of goblins, the goblins aren't contesting the objective, which is really great. And then we've got the rule Duff Up the Big Thing, where you add 1 to hit rolls if they're fighting something with wounds characteristic of 4 or more. This means 2 or 3 wounds they've got no benefits against, but against 1 wound models or against 4 wounds or more models, they've got some really strong benefits. I really do like the You Messin ability though, because this can make this unit really hard to shift. Once again, they've got 3 wounds and a 4-up save. A lot of like those cheap sort of chaffy units that are going to have a lot higher bodies aren't going to be able to put through the damage to get rid of this unit on the table. And all you need is just a boss left alive to be You Messin with me, and he'll claim the objective over 40 free guild guard. But then we've got the Weird Knob Shaman. This is the particular caster available to the Ironjawz. Once again, he is an Auric Wizard, so, 3 attacks with your staff rather than the regular 1 you're used to seeing on most wizards, but then the 4-3, Ren 1, damage D3 sort of staff you're expecting out of all wizards in the game. 6 wounds, though, is nice as well, so he is that little bit more survivable and that little bit more killy than your average sort of wizard. He's got Brutal Power, where if this unit's within 12 inch of 10 or more other friendly Ironjawz models at the end of your hero phase, it can attempt to cast his Green Puke War Scroll spell again, and Green Puke is a really interesting spell where it's got a casting value of 6 and a range of 2d6. You pick one point on the battlefield, draw a straight line, and each unit and models under that take D3 mortal wounds. Pretty solid, and like I said, he can get into combat and do a little bit of damage and survive decently well, so why not send him up with the rest of your boys, get him to do some green puking all over the enemy. Next up, we've got the Mega Bosses. Now, I've got the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher pictured here, but you've also got the named character Godrak, the Fist of Gork, and indeed a Mega Boss on foot. All of these models are really cool. They have some really cool abilities where they allow sort of multiple units to use command abilities around them. And also, at the end of the combat phase, if any model is slain by the Mega Boss on foot, he gets an extra attack to his profile as he gets an extra wound, as well as he gets like more sort of infused with the vigor as he keeps fighting and killing stuff, which is really cool. He's also got the Dead Fighty rule where if he dies, he gets to fight before he goes away. Once again, he's just really solid on his stat line. 3 up save and 7 wounds is really strong, and then 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2 with his attacks in combat. Another really strong set of attacks there. He's actually a pretty good solo sort of hero to run around, go kill stuff all by himself. Put a ward save on him, he's pretty darn solid. The Maw Crushers are your big monsters. They're going to be massive damage dealers. They've got that 4 up save, so they don't, like the foot versions, have the 3 up, which is a little bit unfortunate, but they do definitely go and smash some face. Lastly, we've got the other Auric Warclans unit. I've got Gut Rippers pictured here, but you've also got the Bone Splitters along with Cruel Boys, and you've got these options to play around with the different sort of Auric units to build into a big war army, which is really fun and interesting because it combines all 3 Auric War Clans. You can start off with Ironjawz, build into big war, and then when you've got enough sort of Cruel Boys or Bone Splitters, potentially build an army of them as well. Auric War Clans is a great book for having that sort of way to sort of spread you into another army with almost not intentionally doing it. And so here we have our little sample army list. We're playing Ironjawz, obviously, and a 750 point limit. We're going to be in the War Clan Iron Suns. This is a really interesting sort of sub-faction rule here. It allows you to charge in your opponent's charge phase. This could be really useful for, first, either stopping your opponent's supporting units charging. So when your opponent charges 1 unit in, you then counter-charge into the unit they want to go second into the fight. Stopping your opponent getting charge benefits on units, things like cavalry that get bonuses on their spears as well. Or potentially even charging your opponent to keep them off objectives as well can be another great use of this ability. Not only that, but you could use it to support your own units. If your opponent tries to sort of single out one of your units, you can charge in when your opponent lands into your unit and support your own unit at the same time. It's got a bunch of solid abilities. Grand strategy, we've gone for War. This is really solid with, I guess, Ironjawz and Auric Warclans in general. You wanting to go up and charge, so why not pick a grand strategy that sort of works well with that, where you get it if you have a battle line or your general in your opponent's territory at the end of the game. Triumphs, there's 2 here I think are really solid. First of all, +1 to wound is just great on Ironjawz, and then you've also got the reroll charges, which is really nice as well. For leaders, we've got an Auric War Chanter. He's gone with Killer Beat, which is +1 to hit, solid. I mean, remember, this could combine with +1 to wound, thanks to a Triumph potentially. And then we've got our Auric Mega Boss on foot. He's going to be our general. He's going to have the command trait Hulking Brute. This means that he gets mortal wounds when he charges, combining well with the Iron Sun's ability. And we've got an artifact, the Amulet of Destiny, from the Universal Artifacts list to give him a 5-up ward, meaning if he uses all-out defense or his best day ever, finest hour, he will get a 2-up save and a 5-up ward. For battle line, we've got 10 Auric Ardboys and 5 Auric Brutes. This is a solid little combination here. The Ardboys are great at holding objectives, meanwhile the Auric Brutes are great at going and taking your opponent's objectives thanks to their rules, where they get to sort of claim them and any 1-wound models don't get them while they're near them because they just go, we're bigger and tougher than you. For our other unit, we've got 3 Auric Gore Grunters, Jagged Gore Hackers, the weapon option I've chosen to go with here on my particular unit. I think these are better in the smaller units, or in general. I think they're just better in all the units, mainly because they've got the extra range. You get 1 less attack But because the extra attack is hitting and wounding on 3s, why not just need to roll 3 ups to get a mortal wound through? I think it's just generally better than the other weapon option we have available to us. All of this, though, is wrapped up in a battle regiment, meaning it's a 1-drop army. It's coming to 735 points, meaning, you know, there's a good chance we're going to get that triumph. Reinforced units, 1, obviously the Ardboys, and no allies, 53 wounds, and as I said, a 1-drop army. A solid little starter force for Ironjawz. If you're playing around with Ironjawz at the moment and you picked up this box to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, I'd love to hear what you've done with your Ironjawz in the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Let us know in the comments below. Well, that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to, you can come over and chat more with us here at Sinful Gaming and our fine little community over on Discord. You'll find a link to that Discord in the description of the video. Lastly, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. And if you'd like to help support the channel via Patreon or YouTube members, you can do so by one of the links in the video's description once again. But a special shout out to all our patrons: Christian Weir, James, Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lyle, Outer and Shop First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Cure Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, and Dynat226. And another special shout out to our YouTube members: Greenridge Gaming, Kenton Young, Steve T, The Real Zeop, Chris Wallace, Turo12, Vinny, Lock Lorick, Matt Mollin, Becca Kinski Groupie, and the Johnny84. And lastly, a definite special shout out first of all to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to Xmorphic, who does all the background work for our Discord server, keeping everything there running smoothly, because I am completely computer illiterate. Thank you very much. But that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe again. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.